way in which every street gets chosen to get paved is Oneida County goes through and rates all of our streets, and is done on a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the best, 5 being the worst. We go through every year through that list. We see which street is the worst. We start there, and we've slowly progressed through the streets that are progressively getting better. We are trying to focus on the main routes right now, but we are also trying to hit all of the local roads and everybody's neighborhoods. We're trying to show love to everybody. This is done every single year. Since the legislation went through for $5 million a year for 15 years, that's the process in which we determine which street actually gets done. 7 to 10 miles is the typical amount in which we do, but the problem with this year is that there is an increase in cost due to the inflation. So this year we had to cut our budget down on the street amount because the cost went up exponentially. The number in which we figured out was actually $1 million under what the bid came in, because the cost of the fuel actually caused the asphalt index to go up, and it caused the price of the product that we put down to go up by $1 million. We do a milling operation first, which is removing the existing asphalt layer. We typically take off anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of existing asphalt. So that process involves a large machine that is a cold mill. They go through, it actually grinds the road up, and then that material gets brought to the asphalt plant. The environmental concerns of throwing all this material away, it was determined that the best way to reuse it was to crush it and to mix it in with the new asphalt. So there's a recycled asphalt product that is put into the new asphalt, and that is super paved. They have a 3-day limit from the time that they mill the street to the time it has to be bindered, which is the first course of asphalt. So the binder is placed within 3 days. After that, there are various flat work items that need to be completed, and that is manhole adjustments, there's catch basins and water valves. There are ADA ramps that need to be completed, which we are held by the federal government to correct these ramps as we go through the streets. And that process can take anywhere from 3 to 5 to 7 weeks, and it's all depending on the amount of work that needs to be done on any given street. After that process is done, they work from street to street. This year we've been doing it in phases. We've done 3 different phases of our paving program. And once phase 1 was complete, they started on phase 2. And when they were done doing the milling and the binder on phase 2, they went back to place top on phase 1. So we've been trying to do it in a more timely manner. A problem that we've had this year is our manhole castings. Due to, again, inflation and supply chain issues, we were actually going to have to wait about 30 weeks to get manholes. We were able to make some phone calls. We were able to get them shipped in a timely manner, so that didn't slow us down. Another material that has been an issue is granite curbing, which are used for the ADA accessible ramps. We, as the city, had to go out and source the granite curbing for the contractor, since it was very difficult for them to find it. So we went out and purchased it in return for the contractor to install it at a cheaper price than their bid price.
We average roughly about 7 miles per year of paving throughout the entire city. Some of the things that the viewers need to know is the fact that we average for the mill and fill, it's roughly $577,000 per mile. And people will say, well, that's great. And a lot of people will ask the question, well, if you're only doing the mill and fill, that's not going to last as long as if you do the entire rebuilding of it. And they're absolutely right. However, if we did a mile of just rebuilding it, it would cost roughly $2.4 million per mile. That means you would get minimal. So what we try to do is we do as many miles as possible. You put all these things together, and it's very important that the viewer, the residents, the taxpayers, fully understand what the cost is and why we do what we do, because it makes sense. We try to do an equal amount in every part of the city.
So in essence, our paving program is finding out which streets are designated to be paved. We go through, we mill them, we place the binder, we do the various flat work that needs to be done on any given street. Then we go through and place the final course of asphalt. And after that, then the street is complete, and we do that for anywhere from 30 to 50 streets a year. We do it for $5 million, what that dollar amount will allow us to do. And that is pretty much the process of how we go through and do our paving program every year here in the city of Utica.